Hello and welcome to Mastering Results. I'm your host, Greg Glander, author and peak potential strategist. And today we have a very special guest. She works with people who want to skyrocket their life and career results. And she's also rolling out a brand new program that she's created. I know you're going to want to hear about this. Very important. So you're going to want to stick around. So, from Life Changing Solutions, Angie Amico. Hey, Ange.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How's it going? Thanks for coming on the show, taking some time with us.
Yeah. Well, as far as how it's going great. Lots of stuff happening right now, and I'm excited to be here.
So, for some of the people that will be seeing this, who may not already know you, actually, you are a veteran, right, of this network, WCOBM, and her show is Life Changing Solutions, Angie Amico. And so for people who may not know, kind of tell us exactly what you do. You have a really cool title too, but exactly what are you doing with people when you work with people?
Well, as far as the title, the Design Your Purpose workshop, that's really my newest project.
That's your newest project, but you're not a life coach. You are a...
Oh, yes. I don't refer to myself as a coach. I
Right.
refer to myself as a relationship architect. And when I work with people, a lot of people think relationship, they hear romantic relationships or even with their families. But for me, a relationship is your ability to relate to others, whether it be in business, with your family, with your, children, couple, spouse. So relationship encompasses any type of exchange that you have with another person.
Right, so that could cover in different contexts, business, entrepreneurship, personal.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know from personal experience as well and working with others myself that relationship is also encompassing a relationship within oneself.
Yes.
Correct?
And it really begins with the relationship with yourself. Like, getting a little, mushy. It's like we really have to be comfortable with ourselves and be, love ourselves to be able to, not necessarily to be able to love somebody else, but, it really does begin with me. I speak about ripples, and it's like we're in the middle, and then we start to expand, and that's how we create, impacts in other people.
Correct. And so everything starts with thyself.
Absolutely.
Right? Socrates, know thyself. So that's really cool. So what led you on your career? Like what got you started in this kind of field? Was it something personal, or was it something that just the study fascinated you, or how did that come about?
A combination of everything. I have to say, and I've shared this story before, my mom, she was sick when I was younger, and she passed away by the time I was 17. And I was with her, and I supported her through a lot, the journey in the 2 years that she was ill. And that's when I discovered that I really wanted to help people. And I actually thought it was nursing or some kind of medical field. And so I dabbled in that for a little bit, and I took, some courses, and in the meantime, I responded to an employment ad.
Uh-huh.
And that's where I discovered mental health.
Mental health, okay.
And after, working at a group home and stuff like that, I'm like, you know what? This is my niche. And so I went back to school. I got a degree in human services and then mental health counseling, and haven't looked back since, with the exception of me expanding, and I became a personal development trainer.
Ah, okay.
And I fell in love with that. And there's definitely, and some people, I always get the question, well, what's the difference between mental health and personal development, the coaching field, and all that stuff? And I'm just like, right, just a little bit. But the quickest way that I learned to explain it is there's absolutely a place for therapy. I am not in any way knocking it, but I feel that in personal development, the come from is different. It's, really, you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you.
Exactly.
There's a few tweaks. There's something that's not working in your life, but we can do this. And it's also a we. We work together. It's a partnership. It's a relationship that we build off of, which is where the architect piece comes into play in my name.
Okay.
So we start
Awesome.
to build, off of you, and then from there create and design the life that you're looking for.
Exactly. here's an element of about human potential coaching, if you will, or working with people, or people who are needing help because they know, okay, there are things that are not going the way they want, or there's things, interpersonal that they know, and they do have the wherewithal to know, hey, I need to fix this, or I need to get this corrected. But a lot of times they think that they're going to go to someone and that other person's going to do it for them.
Right.
But there's a relationship right there where you are co-creating. I used to be in fitness industry, and I would be training with these people, and some of them would come in and expecting me to be the one for them to lose their fat. And it's
Right,
like, no,
exactly.
I'm teaching them, I'm giving them education, I'm with them in terms of guiding them through the movements in the gym, but the work doesn't stop in the gym, the work doesn't stop in our office, the work keeps going when they're not in our office, when they're not in the gym, but during the day and implementing what we teach them in their everyday life. And it's a pattern, and yes, you are interrupting old habits, old habituated inner dialogue, and you are going to be recreating new thoughts, new beliefs, new patterns of behavior, new beliefs, right, that we help them with.
Yes.
And that's where we come in, is we help them to interrupt those patterns, break down those habitual patterns, and get them into a whole new way of being.
Absolutely. And something that, like, for me, that I also do is, and this is a very common thing, it's like you said, you interrupt and you try to break those patterns and really eliminate those limiting beliefs. But sometimes they're so ingrained
Yes.
that I'm like, okay, well, we'll work with that. So if you want to continue to hold on to that 10-pound bag of potatoes, we can do this. Because there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. So it's
Right,
like you don't
right.
always have to, and maybe you're just not ready to let that go. And I think that's also big on the acceptance piece and in having that relationship with yourself
Okay.
and acknowledging, like, you know what, I'm not ready to let this go. However, I still want to cross the finish line. So you get to understand and take responsibility and say, you know what, I'm going to make it a little harder, and I accept that because I'm just not ready, and so I'm going to run this race with an extra 10 pounds on my back, but
Right.
it's still possible.
Of course.
So I think that's also important to notice that in coaching, we do bring up those beliefs and we do interrupt, but also if you choose to not want to let it go, you can still work around it and still make things happen.
Okay.
But you, at that point, take responsibility and say, okay, I'm choosing this.
So would you say that many times a person knows a certain element, that a certain pattern of beliefs, a new way of thinking, a new way of interpreting a past event or a past person or a past place, but maybe the time for them, they're not grasping it. So it's also a matter of, is the time right for a person on any given particular train of thought or challenge as something new?
Yeah, I mean, it could be the timing, it could be their attachments with it. And I think, and it's going into what you were saying as far as putting in the work. A lot of these beliefs didn't start yesterday.
Right. Right.
We've been carrying them for so long. It's learning how to unread. You know what I mean? You can't just stop reading because you said so. It is this work. It requires patience and practice.
Yep.
And so sometimes you don't have the time, or sometimes you're not ready because the timing's not right for you, but yet you still want to accomplish something. So that's what I'm speaking into. It's like, acknowledging all of that and saying, okay, how can we move forward without, really focusing, because sometimes we lose a lot of time, and that's another way to avoid is I
Right.
gotta break this, I gotta get through this.
Yeah.
It's like, no, not really.
Because like you said earlier, there's all different kinds of avenues that you can take.
Exactly.
And that all comes down to, level of skill that the coach has, or the person you're working with has, how broad is their palette, so
Right.
to say, to work with.
Or their toolbox is what I call it.
Yeah, exactly. So you have a brand new program coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very excited, and I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the people that will be hearing about this, learning about this, enrolling in this, because it's going to be of such tremendous value. I can't tell you, but we are going to hit that on the very next segment, and that's going to be coming up in just a few seconds, so stick around. We're going to hear about this. Like I said before, very important. So stick around and we will be right back.